the author of the gravitational unit theory, unified field theory, theory of everything. This is review chapter 7, that between gravitational units exists no space that is not occupied by a gravitational unit. See figure 17 and 18. Figure 17a is continuous on its interval because all the space is occupied by a gravitational unit at some point. The fabric of space proposed by the Standard Model with rigid spheres in 17b is not continuous on its interval, and all of your calculus equations in physics would not hold up with a universe that was modeled this way. It also violates the first law of thermodynamics. The total energy of the universe is constant. The total energy of the universe would vary in proportion to the rips and tears of the holes in the fabric of space-time. If you want a universe that supports all your mathematical functions and is continuous on its interval, you would use a geometry, as you see here in 18a, which is continuous on its interval. Figure 18b has rips and tears and is not continuous on its interval. String theory specifically relies on these rips and tears for its theory, and that would propose a universe which would violate the first law of thermodynamics, because the total energy of the universe would not be constant, but instead would vary in proportion to the volumes of the rips and tears. The geometry proposed by string theory is invalid, is shown invalid, and is invalid if you want a universe that's continuous on its interval and holds that the total energy of the universe is constant. As I'm saying here in 7.1, that the total mass of the universe is and remains constant, conservation of the first law of thermodynamics, that the universe is continuous on its interval, shown by figures 17a and b. These show that the universe must be continuous on its interval in order for all your calculus functions to work. 7.3 is that there is a fabric of space, fabric of space-time. And there exists an ether of gravitational units with a resolution on the order of a Planck length. And this was written in 2010, I believe, and that the best instrumentation, well, it may have well been written far before that. A lot of this stuff carries over from previous editions. It could have been all the way back to 2002, but the best instrumentation of those that day, such as an electron microscope, cannot begin to see on the order of times 10 to the minus 35th meters, which is the level of the Planck length. And it's very difficult to negate the ether theory. And there's good reason to believe in an ether theory. Curved space and mass-related phenomena affecting the curvature of space apply an ether. Einstein's theory that light bends when it nears a massive object suggests an ether, a fabric of space-time that is perturbed by mass. 7.4, that there is no true vacuum or any rips or tears in the fabric of space-time or any volume of space within the universe void of these gravitational units. And the corollary to that is that string theory is invalid, because if there were rips and tears in the fabric of space-time, the total energy of the universe would vary in proportion to the volume of the rips and tears. And since all observation supports that the total energy of the universe is constant, string theory is invalid. String theory is invalid because it violates the first law of thermodynamics, and 1.1.1, that the total mass of the universe is constant. See figure 17b and 18b. Also recently, again, invalidated by using calculus to solve for a variable in the ideal gas equation, showing universe must be continuous on its interval for calculus to apply. I know I was doing an awful lot of work back then. Loop theory is also invalid because loops cannot be used as building units without having these same rips and tears in the fabric of space-time due to their geometry. And loop theory is invalid because it violates the first law of thermodynamics in 1.1.1, same as string theory. And the Standard Model is an error in its assertion that the vacuum of space-time is empty. And I know it has to be frustrating to scientists to hear me say that what they were taught in school and currently even what's being taught in school pretty much is wrong, but there's something wrong with the Standard Model. Everybody knows it. A Planck length is on the order of times 10 to the minus 35th meters, and our best instruments cannot come close to this resolution. So who is to say that the vacuum of space is empty? In order to give you an idea how small a Planck length is, if you were to use an electron microscope and look down to times 10 to the minus 15th, and then you did it again, you saw a little guy down there that was, again, times 10 to the minus 15th, and you look down again, and finally you see the Planck length. It's very, very small. So there's no concrete observation that the vacuum of space is empty. Only observation to the limits of our best instruments, which is definitely inadequate. On the contrary, light bending as it encounters a massive object, such as a star, suggests a fabric of space which is perturbed by the massive object. The Standard Model is in error in its assertion that the vacuum of space is empty, and any corollary to that assertion must be also considered invalid. Here's a very important point I make, is that an alternate way to view the maximum value for the speed of light, c, is the terminal velocity due to the drag of the fabric of space-time, such as the terminal velocity of an object which falls through Earth's atmosphere. The reason why the speed of light is constant is because, for the same reason that if an object falls from very high up, it still hits the Earth at a maximum velocity because of the wind resistance. The same thing is going on out there in outer space with light flying through the fabric of space-time. Of course, light has mass, and I've always said it. That the total energy of the universe is and remains constant, conservation of the first law of thermodynamics, that the vast distances in outer space, which are now considered to be totally empty and vacuumless, have a mass, and the slight mass associated with this vacuum of outer space, when multiplied by the astronomically large volume of outer space, surely could make up the largely missing matter of the universe known as dark matter. The interactions between the gravitational units which comprise dark matter define dark energy. This has to do with the gravitational wells which are created by the intersection of the gravitational units. That the notion of a number zero, the absence of gravitational units, does not exist within the quantum universe. So you only have positive values within the quantum universe, and that the minimum value in the quantum realm is equal to one gravitational unit, 1. And that many quantum equations should make sense if their denominator is not allowed to go to zero by definition. The theory says that by definition, the smallest value is 1 gravitational unit within the universe, because all of the fabric of space-time is covered at least 1 gravitational unit thick in order to create the universe. My name is Todd Gooch, and this is the end of my review video. Invalidates string theory, loop theory, and shows how the universe must be composed of these gravitational units with a permeable spherical geometry in order for there to be continuity on the interval and conservation of the first law of thermodynamics. This ends my review video. Thank you.